Welcome to this edition of Leading With, and in this series of episodes, we're talking about leading with courage. Obviously, we are going right through this unprecedented time with the COVID-19 virus, and my guest today is Jonathan Rich. Jonathan leads J. Rich Atlanta, which is one of the leading real estate firms here in Atlanta, doing amazing work in Midtown and the east side of Atlanta. And so, Jonathan, welcome, and man, excited to have you on here. And just kind of starting right here off the top, how's this day-to-day shift, impacted your organization?
Yeah, so the real estate market is a bit it's a bit slow to react. So we're still dealing with stuff that won't actually close or move into revenue positions for another month to month and a half. That all happened, 2-3 weeks ago. So we're in this really weird in between where we're going to still, assuming the world doesn't completely fall apart, which nobody knows at this point, which way we're going to go. We're in the middle of handling deals that went into place before coronavirus was really a thing in the United States yet, and seeing those to fruition in this new normal, while also trying to determine, all right, how are we going to generate what the next round of new deals looks like now that nobody's leaving their house, now that there's major, obviously, public health concerns, all that kind of stuff. So we're kind of balancing two balls, and it just, things move slower. It's a lot different than a lot of the other sectors, I think, of industry, especially retail and things like that, where literally people are overnight having to shift everything. We're in the middle of holding together what was already there and also trying to shift.
Okay, so in light of that, what are some of the decisions you've had to make, realizing that, things that were happening 3 or 4 or 5 weeks ago, you're now catching up to, but now knowing 5 weeks out from now, 6 weeks out from now, things may look drastically different. So what are y'all doing to anticipate that?
Well, I'll say one of the most important things that I think anybody could do in any position of leadership, whether you're leading your family or a business or a group of people, an organization, whatever, is in times of uncertainty, which we are kind of in, I think most people would agree, probably one of the more unprecedented times of uncertainty in our country and maybe across the globe. Communicating clearly and consistency is the most important thing. And you may not know, you may not know what you're supposed to do or how you should do it, but that needs to be communicated as well. And so I think on both ends of those spectrums, right, the last week and a half, it's just really been about transparency. So I'm trying to get my people together as often as I think is necessary to consistently and clearly communicate to them what I'm learning, what we're learning as an industry, what we're learning as a city here in Atlanta, and how all those things should come together and determine how we should act today. And it's literally changing day by day. So I think that's the most important thing for us right now is and for me personally, as I think about my family and our team at J. Rich Atlanta, is man, we're just going to be transparent. We're going to be honest, and we're going to communicate often and clearly and concisely, even if that means that we're communicating, hey, we have no freaking clue.
So with this idea that necessity is the mother of all invention, and so you're in a whole new reality in your industry. How's this forced you to think innovatively, and have you put some new innovations already in place? Those are long-term, short-term solutions. What are you seeing in that regard?
It's very possible. It's a real possibility that the next 2 months nobody's going to look at houses. Yeah. And if it's not 2 weeks and it's 2 months, or heaven forbid 6 months, we're gonna have to figure out a way for people to be able to look at houses without leaving their house.
Do you see a day with the virtual tours where 100% of this is happening online, negotiation, and even do you foresee an agent being able to facilitate that tour digitally?
Yeah.
People through? What are you seeing?
So that's a deep and complicated question to answer.
You're a deep and complicated guy, so you're up.
So the residential real estate industry for the past 4 years has had billions and billions of dollars invested in basically trying to automate it. Exactly what you're saying, and not just the showing experience, but like turnkey from start to finish, from the point you choose an agent to the lender you use to the closing attorneys to the vendors that do the work to the house when it needs to be punched out. There's companies that are trying to do that, and I actually am a believer that is not possible on a full, complete level. I think it's possible in certain sectors of the housing industry where you have, a subdivision of 300 homes that are all the same floor plan, or one condo building. I think you can automate that particular building. But automating, you and I both live in in-town Atlanta, in neighborhoods that are 120 years old, that have housing types, you have a 2-bedroom, 1-bath on the same street as a brand new construction 6-bedroom, 5-bath with a finished basement. And one house is $300,000 and the other house is $1.2 million. It is impossible, real estate being the largest financial investment that most of us will ever make, plus the personal experience that, and the emotional experience that purchasing that home, that sense of place that you're going to rest your family in. It's so personal and it's so distinctive and it's so unique market to market that I think there's a level of personal touch and physical touch that will always have to be on it. So I would say, as a whole, to answer your question without talking for hours about it, yes, we are going to automate, but no, we are not going to completely automate.
Yeah.
So in the instance of virtual touring, I think that as these tools get better and if they became mainstream, so the Matterport idea, if it continued to get better, because it's a really, really good tool, if it continued to get better, and even if you did have a virtual reality part, which they're already working on, where you could put on some virtual reality goggles and literally feel like you're walking through the house, I think what that could do is eliminate the first 100 houses you have to see and allow you to get to the place where it's like, oh, I only need to see 5 houses.
Yeah.
Right. So I think, and then, so it could make the process more efficient for both the agent and the buyer. But even still, like, to get into the place that you know what you're looking at through those goggles, you're still going to have to physically go out and see other stuff, to be like, oh yeah, I do want 2 bathrooms, or I do want a bigger yard or a smaller yard, or I do understand that this neighborhood, this price buys me X.
Yeah.
So, what we have right now with that and being forced in the situation, it's only going to work for people that already know what neighborhood they want to be in and already have some sort of grip on what kind of price they can spend.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
All right. One last question. I know you just said that we don't have a crystal ball, but imagine we do have a crystal ball.
Yeah.
Where is J. Rich Atlanta 1 year from now?
Lord, I wish I knew. So we started our business, or I started my business and this career April of 2010, which was literally the absolute bottom of the last economic downturn. I'm not convinced yet that we're anywhere close to that with this. We can talk more about that in June. But let's just assume let's just assume that we're going to go into some major economic pain the next 8 to 12 months. What I would like to think is that we learned enough starting our business then that we have prepared for a moment like this. And that because of our honesty and integrity and transparency, and also because of our expertise and the excellence with which we do business, we'll be able to weather whatever comes in the transition economically and with the public health crisis, to where when we do rise from the ashes, so to speak, 12 months, 14 months, 16 months, 4 months, whatever it is, we'll be stronger and better and ready to serve our clients in a way that a lot of other people maybe unfortunately will not be able to weather the storm and get to. So, I'd like to say that we're going to be stronger and more well-equipped and excited about whatever the new normal becomes.
Jonathan, thanks for giving us some insight into how you're all working through this unprecedented time, and wish you all the best as y'all try to tackle this and serve your clients well.
Thanks, man. Appreciate the time.
All right.
All right. Y'all be safe.